Good evening and welcome to the Accendo Traders Group. This is our video technical analysis trading plan for Wednesday, November 18th. Our website is blog.accendotraders.com, where we put together video technical analysis trading plans on a daily basis. As you can see, the focus at Accendo Traders are developing trading plans that keep us focused and disciplined. And as a part of that, we want to know what's coming down the pipes that can affect our positions. So we want to look at earnings and economic data and upgrades and downgrades and see how that affects us and if we should get into new trades because of that. But by discipline and focus and cutting down on our time, we can spend more time with our family. So today, what do we have? Nothing. I thought yesterday was bad when I was trying to share with you guys. Today's even worse. I spent the last several weeks talking about the inverse relationship of the dollar. The dollar goes up, the market goes down. The dollar goes down, the market goes up. Well, today the dollar was weak, and that really did nothing for the market. The market sold off right off the bat. Maybe it was due to the housing starts. Maybe the market is pausing. We don't know, but only time will tell. But we know that the volume's getting lower, but we'll talk about that later. But in the end, we basically ended all three markets down, close to unchanged. Well, we're down just a bit, not that bad. Only three sectors ended in positive territory today. And, you know, again, the housing started pulling back sharper than coming in lower than expected. I think probably caused the sell-off in the open, and then we kind of pulled back for the rest of the day. On the earnings calendar, there really wasn't much going on today. We shared that yesterday. There was an upgrade on Fizzler. The downgrade on RIM is interesting because, again, you know, we've got the Motorola Droid. The Droid does. And we got, but that kind of overshadowed some of the RIM news of their new Blackberries coming out. And of course the Android. Remember Android, the operating system was different from the actual phone, the Droid. So that downgrade in RAM was interesting. Tomorrow, initial claims. So if we get a crazy number, certainly could move the market. Didn't move the market last week. On the earnings front, we do have Sears and Dell after. We have a new split that was announced today, but again, with volume being lightened and the market not really moving off news, not sure what to expect. And remember, we're going into a holiday week of trading. So we're going to begin today with our market snapshot, and we can see, again, right at the open, the market sold off and basically kind of consolidated. And again, this rally into the close, that was the dollar going down, but for the most part, you can see we really just kind of stayed in within a range, about a 50-point range, sold off, and spent the day coming out, retested that low, and then in the afternoon session, rallied back up close to even for the day. Same thing with the NASDAQ. But what we can also see here is that the NASDAQ wasn't as strong of a push back up as the other two markets. And I like to look at this picture. I know it may not make a lot of sense, but again, green stocks up, red stocks down, and it gives you a good visual representation of today was it's a little red, so you know, more red than green, but overall yellow unchanged. Overall, just a lot of nothing. And again, on this website you can find much more information and do some scanning for stocks, but overall, our overall picture is a blah day. Switching over to the daily charts, we basically can see what we have. A nice little doji here. We have a push up, nice doji. Also notice this, that today when we did push down for the first half hour today, we pushed down to the 5 moving average right here, and we rallied from there. So you know, it's always good to look at these longer terms. Even intraday, you need to look at the longer terms and get an idea of what the market is doing. You can't just look at those 3 minutes, 300 tick, 89 ticks. You got to look at everything to kind of get a gauge of a profile of the market. Switching over to the NASDAQ, you can see we have an inside day here. Inside yesterday's move, still basically also almost inside of Monday's move. So you know, again, a blah day. Volume did pick up a little bit, so I do have to say that, and we'll talk more about that when looking at internals. But again, what's going to be our catalyst? That's what I always like to bring it back to. What's going to be our catalyst to move us one direction or the other? We don't have the news to do it, and then we're going into a holiday week with Thanksgiving next week being closed on Thursday and half day on Friday, and I think maybe even a half day on Wednesday. I'll check out my blog and I'll have the calendar on there for you. So with that being said, how much trading is really going to go on, and then also remember that this week is option expiration week, and that also could have an impact on tomorrow and Friday's action. And here we are looking at the internals, and again, we can see we did have a little increase in volume. We even had a bearish breath, negative breath, but we still have stocks making new high. Although our decliners won today, we have more stocks declining than advancing today. Of course, on a sort of a day like this, but even a big number like 800 doesn't match the 3,000 that we had last week. Both on the upside and the downside. So I don't really think the internals are turning on much. It is interesting that we did have a negative breath, but we really still don't really have the volume to show conviction of the traders. Many of us were sitting there at 2 o'clock waiting for the market to go retest the lows, and it never really did. And then, of course, all this week, what has happened, eventually we just rise up. All this week we rallied into the close, and that's what the market did. Sometimes you just can't fight it. The trend is your friend. When we go ahead and switch over and look at our market intraday, we can see that sell-off basically right at the open, 945. And here's another testament to what did we talk about yesterday, intraday pivots. We sold off the pivots. Don't get yourself confused. These things mean different, so don't get confused by what you see about us. But important thing is we sold off to the pivot. We pushed, came up, came back down, tested it. Once we came back up, this was a good indicator for you either to get out of your short or consider an aggressive counter trend play, especially once we broke the high of this candle. We went up. Once we got to this candle and we failed and made a new high, and once we broke the pivot and broke the bottom of this candle, good indicator to go down. Probably would have got yourself about 10, 20 points there. Then we kind of went intraday consolidation for a while, and then around 12:30, we built up this support here at 10,370, and that's basically once we broke that level, we finally went back and tested the pivot and the morning lows. But once again, we pushed it. We pushed down again. If you look at this candle, it originally came down, and as we came back up and went back above this candle, these are indicators for you, fail new lows, and to consider a trade going up to the other side, which we did. And what do we see? Again, resistance of the pivots, more talk about the pivots. Came back up, tested pivots more. So again, intraday traders really consider using pivots. Okay, so now we have our educational portion of our video, and we've been talking a lot from Trading a Zone by Mark Douglas, the thinking and probabilities, random outcomes equals consistent results. And here he really lays out how we can look at the randomness of trading. There are some unknown variables in trading, and even though we believe, especially those who are technicians, technical analysis, we believe that these patterns are repeatable. These behavior patterns, these chart patterns are all repeatable. Rising 3, falling 3, wedge, triangles, all of those, morning star, shooting star, everything you can think of, moving averages, all of those are indicators. They indicate something. But in the end, every time we go to trade, there are a new group of traders trading. Sure, some of the same people may be trading that stock at that price level on that chart pattern, but for the most part, there are going to be some new people in there who bring about a new attitude, a new interpretation of what the valuation of that stock is at that point. Is it high now? Is it low now? Are you feeling pain because you got in at a bad price and now you just want to get close to break even and get out? Are you giddy and now that it's at this price point you can hold on to it? So that uncertainty of who's actually involved in a trade is what contributes to the pattern of the moment, and will it actually fulfill? Again, understanding the patterns puts us in the position to have an edge and to be successful and to be consistent, but there's still a new group of traders forming that pattern, and we need to be prepared for what? Anything can happen. Come join our trading room. Alex is a great leader. This is not my room, but it's a room that I'm recommending. A great 10-day trial for $29. This is a futures trading room. Great advice. I love the fact that he spends time educating the whole way. It's not just calls, and he does that, and that's what I really like about it, because a lot of times you go in these rooms and they never really make a call. They just tell you what they did or whatever, but he makes his calls. But also, he spends the rest of the time, if he's not trading, answering questions and giving you great market information to guide your trading. And we have a great relationship, 23 contracts, if you use this futures broker. And an e-mini book that if you come download, great day trading book to help you in your routines. So join us on Sundays for our Jumpstart trading session. We have a free webinar, great video on how to get started trading futures, and subscribe to our podcast. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you next time. It's going to close.